You already have what you were looking for. You just don't feel it yet. That is not a comfort. That is the problem. And 2,000 years ago, Laozi saw it with terrifying clarity. You get the promotion. Good. For about a week. Then the mind shifts. You want the next one. You lose weight. Great. But now the goalpost moves. You reach the number, the relationship, the house. And something quiet in the chest says, not quite yet. Maybe the next thing. We call this ambition. Ancient China had a different name for it. Suffering. Here is what no one told you. The feeling you are chasing does not live at the destination. It lives in a capacity you either build or you don't. And most people spend an entire life running towards something that was always right here. In the Tao Te Ching, Laozi wrote this in chapter 46. There is no disaster greater than not knowing sufficiency. No fault greater than the desire for more. That was written 25 centuries ago. It describes your phone screen at midnight. The concept is Zhi Zu. Literally, it means knowing enough. But here is where it gets interesting. In Chinese, knowing is not just intellectual. It is felt in the body. Zhi Zu is not a thought. It is a recognition. A moment when the mind finally stops measuring and simply sees what is already full. Paired with it is Chang, lasting joy. Not the excitement that spikes and crashes. The quiet hum underneath. The kind that does not depend on conditions being different than they are. Together, these two concepts form one of the oldest idioms in Chinese philosophy. He who knows enough always has enough. Now here is the twist. Laozi was not telling people to want less. He was pointing at something more precise in chapter 33. He who knows contentment is rich. Not he who has little. He who knows. The same life, seen through different eyes, becomes either a prison or a palace. Zhuangzi, the great Daoist writer who followed Laozi, put it this way. A bird in the forest needs only one branch to rest. A mouse at the river drinks only enough to fill its belly. They do not suffer for what they leave behind. The suffering, Zhuangzi said, is uniquely human. We are the only creatures who stand at the river and feel poor. So what do we do with this? The first practice is learning to notice the moment of enough. Not the moment you stop wanting more, just the moment you realize what you already have is actually whole. You finish a good meal. There is a pause before the mind reaches for dessert, for the phone, for the next thing. That pause is Zhi Zu. It lasts about 3 seconds for most people. The practice is stretching it, not forcing it, just noticing it exists. The second practice is understanding that addition is not always progress. Laozi taught that the sage does not accumulate. He removes. Every obligation you carry that does not belong to your path takes energy from what does. Every object, every commitment, every open loop in the mind is weight. Zhi Zu is not about owning nothing. It is about carrying only what you can actually feel. The third practice is this. Sit for 5 minutes today and do not improve anything. Do not plan, optimize, or solve. Just exist inside the life you already have. This sounds easy. It is one of the hardest things you will try this week, because the mind trained to chase will resist stillness like an animal resists a cage. But that restlessness is not ambition. It is just habit. And habits can be seen clearly and released. Here is the final reveal. Contentment does not come after you stop striving. It comes before. It is the ground you build everything else on. The ancient sages were not passive. Laozi wrote one of the most influential texts in human history. Zhuangzi argued, questioned, and created endlessly. But they moved from a place of inner sufficiency, not inner lack. And that changes everything. Not what you do, how it feels to do it. Know enough. Live in lasting joy. 1. Today, notice one moment when something is already complete. Stay there for 10 breaths. 2. Remove one thing from your life this week. 3. Sit in silence for 5 minutes and let that be enough. Write in the comments, I already have enough. Thank you for watching.